Hi, my name is Daniel Lopez. I'm a tinnitus specialist with multiple years of experience treating tinnitus, hearing loss, and all hearing conditions under the sun. In the next 7 minutes, I'm going to reveal the truth about tinnitus and spit in the face of the big hearing companies charging hundreds, even thousands of dollars for overpriced, useless treatments. I'm about to expose the shocking truth the hearing industry is desperately trying to keep under wraps. They've got you chained to a never-ending cycle of payments, teasing you with a cure that never comes. Today, this injustice stops, because if you follow the steps I'll share in this video, like 62,000 men and women all over the world already have, you'll find yourself hearing the chirping of birds, sleeping like a baby, and enjoying the silence you've been missing for so long, without being bothered again by the annoying ear noises, hearing issues, or insomnia. But first, know that you are not broken, as the pharma industry wants you to believe. And it's not your fault, as some doctors might have told you. I'll show you the exact area of the brain that causes those hellish sounds in your ears, and what you need to do to fix them. No matter how bad your condition, or how old you are, you can mute that maddening noise even if you've been living with it for ages. Even if you're struggling with hearing loss, but still haunted by tinnitus. And even if you're hearing 3 different sounds at once, as I previously did. It's all thanks to a secret method that's left scientists scratching their heads since the 1970s, when NASA started testing it in the training of their astronauts. Its amazing power lies in delivering specific substances straight to your brain's sound center to quiet down hyperactivity in the auditory cortex. And it changes how your brain decodes sounds, especially phantom sounds, hitting the mute button on tinnitus right away and giving your ears the peace they desperately need. Doctors call it neurofeedback training, and it also protects you from memory loss, brain fatigue, and migraines, preventing serious diseases such as dementia, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's. Look, the medical industry knows this is the secret to ending tinnitus, hearing loss, and brain problems once and for all, and are conducting hundreds of tests just to be able to explain why it works so well. That's why it's kept under lock and key by the government and the media. Just imagine, no more headaches, dizziness, or nausea, only clear sounds. No more feeling angry, irritated, or depressed, just mental peace. No more late nights spent pleading for a single second of silence, only restful sleep. And that's because you can stop your tinnitus right now, just like Peter B. from Toledo, Ohio did in just 3 weeks.
Before I tried out your method, I couldn't even remember how enjoyable the silence was. Now I can sleep. I don't feel stressed or angry anymore. And finally, my hearing is great. Thank you, and I hope everybody finds out about this.
I have to admit, at first I wasn't sure about your method, but when you're as desperate as I was, you'd give anything a try. Thank God I did. I no longer hear any buzzing or hissing sounds, and I no longer feel pressure or anxiety. I can relax and sleep like a baby. Thank you.
This condition put me in a really dark place and made me think that I was alone and that I'd never get any better. But after so much suffering, I thought it wouldn't hurt to try your method. I never expected it to work so well and in such a short time. So to all of you out there, you can get your life back. And it's easier than you think.
You too can join these 62,000 trailblazers whose hearing started to clear day after day. Then, they got a much quieter mind, followed by clearer thinking and improved memory. And most importantly, after years of poor sleep and insomnia, all of them can now sleep through the night. Also, after using this treatment, you'll be certain that you no longer suffer from hidden brain disorders, because this method strengthens the brain's capacity to respond to challenges. And once you get to see the groundbreaking science behind this solution, I'm sure that you'll be excited to give it a try. But before that, I want to tell you my story, why I care so much about tinnitus, how I discovered this amazing secret, and why I'm so determined to help you and anyone with hearing problems regain their mental peace. Like I said, my name is Daniel Lopez. I'm a 64-year-old tinnitus specialist, and I live in a small city close to Stanford, California, together with my wife Tanya and my daughter Annabelle. Before becoming a tinnitus specialist, I spent 25 years guiding planes as an air traffic controller, where every decision mattered and a minor slip-up could lead to disaster. My job demanded sharp hearing to manage the skies. Little did I know, this career would lead me to a NASA discovery that not only turned my health around, but is now helping countless others. My journey started 11 years ago on a lazy Sunday movie night with my family. Suddenly, an overwhelming noise hit me out of nowhere. I brushed it off, thinking maybe I was just worn out from a long week. Ever felt so exhausted you still hear work noises at home? That's what I hoped it was. But the sounds didn't stop, even the next day. They were glued to my ears, no matter where I went or what I did. At work, I started feeling tired and couldn't concentrate anymore. This worried me quite a bit, and like anyone would, I took some anti-inflammatories, hoping it would go away. But nothing changed. One evening, I asked Tanya if she's ever heard these phantom sounds, and she said no, and that it was probably from the equipment at work, telling me to go rest. After a month of torment, where I couldn't concentrate on anything, and had already tried meditation, pills, and even white noise therapy, I realized I couldn't continue like that, and I went to the best ENT doctor in my city. I was convinced that he'd know how to end this folly. Unfortunately, this was just the beginning. Dr. George Kellen checked my ears, performed a lot of hearing tests, including an audiogram, and told me, "Your ears are perfectly healthy, Daniel, but you have tinnitus." Tinnitus? From what? I asked. You see, we still don't know exactly what causes it, because it's not an ear disease, a bacterial infection, or a virus. And the worst part is we don't have a treatment for it. Hold on, are you telling me I have to live with this noise forever? I need sharp focus and clear hearing for my work. This can't be happening. I can give you something to ease the stress, but there's no promise the buzzing will stop, the doctor continued. I could not believe it. Everything I thought about the incredible medical progress we made, and we still didn't know where tinnitus came from? Seeing me so disappointed, the doctor apologized, handed me the prescription, and advised me to rest more, even take a vacation to unplug. I took my pills from the pharmacy, and when I got home, I started reading about tinnitus. What I found wasn't very encouraging. Tinnitus is when you hear a sound without an external source. This false perception is processed and interpreted by the brain. So the problem is that your brain is creating a sound that isn't really there. Then I learned that tinnitus is an anomaly in neural activity, or more precisely, in the way our brain processes sounds. Why do these anomalies happen? To this question, I couldn't find any other answer besides stress. But the stress pills the doctor recommended weren't helping me at all. And as time went on, my tinnitus became worse. From pretty annoying to sonic supernova raging in my head. Sometimes I even heard 3 different sounds at the same time. There were also sensations of blood pumping through my ears and veins. My nerves were so frazzled and my hearing so poor that I once yelled at one of my colleagues to stop making noises, even though he wasn't doing anything. At that moment, I realized I needed to take a break from my job. Now, not only did I have these sounds stuck in my ear, but I also couldn't concentrate, and my mind was deteriorating. As sad as it sounds, and as hard as it was for me to accept, my memory and focus started fading away. There were times I'd be sitting at my desk, clueless about what I did moments before, or what I was even thinking about. So, after 2 episodes of this kind, I had a heart-to-heart with my boss and buddy, Aiden Colin. He's an exceptionally understanding person, and also runs a medical research lab, being a research doctor by profession. I explained my situation to him, and took some unpaid time off. Aiden tried to talk me out of it, but I knew I couldn't stay on the job if I wasn't in top form. Imagine messing up a pilot's message or mixing up coordinates. It could mean the collision of 2 airplanes full of passengers. So I faced the hard truth, and that's how my days of guiding planes in the sky came to an end. With my identity slipping through my fingers, I became so stressed and scared of everything that was happening to me, ashamed and worried that my family and workmates might believe I'd lost it and relied on pills to get by. Unfortunately, the treatments I tried were useless, and the meds left me feeling like a zombie. Then, on a day when the noise was unbearable, when blood was pumping in my ears and I was lost in the chaos, I broke down. I screamed, cried, and punched the wall until my wife rushed in. Seeing her scared and crying made me realize how bad things had gotten. You can't imagine what it's like to never escape the noise, not even for a second. I was a mess, angry, desperate, and completely lost. I couldn't work, couldn't think, couldn't find peace. It was the darkest moment of my life. Battling those terrible thoughts, I knew I couldn't go on like this. In my darkest moment, I turned to my faith, my guiding light, and prayed. I asked God for forgiveness for not looking after myself better. Then I begged for a way to escape this nightmare. After pouring my soul out and letting go, I finally felt relief and realized I only had two options. I could continue with the doctor's advice, with zero effect on my tinnitus, or I could choose the second option and fight for my life, seek out the true cause of tinnitus, and eliminate it from my life. My inner voice told me option 2 was the only way to go from that day on. I knew my new mission in life was to beat this thing. Suddenly, I felt a renewed ambition and determination burning inside of me, and I started searching for information again about ways to fight tinnitus and anything that could help me. That's how I ended up reading everything on the internet about tinnitus, turning myself into a tinnitus expert. The problem was that the conclusions were always the same. Learn to live with it. Well, that was the whole point. I didn't want to live with tinnitus, especially when studies suggest it's an anomaly of the brain. But here's the thing, there are no accidents in life. Just when I thought I was lost, I got a call from my boss, Aiden. He had news. A NASA neurology specialist was in town to talk about the brain, sounds, and hearing, alternative methods to maintain a healthy brain. He thought I might want to attend and that it could help with my problem. And after reading about all the connections between the brain and tinnitus, for the first time, I felt hopeful. And here's why. Astronauts constantly have to deal with both causes of tinnitus, stress and loud sounds. It seemed impossible to me that at least some of them hadn't developed tinnitus, so I couldn't wait to attend the lecture. But in the meantime, I started learning more about astronauts, and that's how I discovered the unique challenges of life in space. First, astronauts have to deal with the side effects of microgravity, namely the lack of Earth's normal gravity. This affects many aspects of the human body, from the loss of muscle and bone mass to changes in blood circulation and the immune system. These bodily changes produce enormous stress and directly affect the mental health of astronauts. So NASA has always looked for ways to keep astronauts' mental health at its peak, and I became extremely curious about what treatments astronauts take in space, what sounds they're exposed to, and how they cope with stress. On the day of the lecture, I found that the doctor had been working with the NASA medical team for decades. His career was so impressive, and clearly everyone thought so. He shared how astronauts face non-stop stress, tackle risky missions, and have unbeatable mental toughness and physiological grit. They're even called the folks with the toughest minds. When the lecture wrapped up, it was time for questions, something I was eagerly waiting for. Everyone started asking what astronauts eat, drink, how they sleep, and what vitamins they take. But my question was more specific. How do astronauts handle the stress and the noise up there during missions? Do they ever get ringing in their ears? And the doctor started laughing, saying this is a question he couldn't fully answer due to some contractual limitations. And he followed with a story. Back in the 70s, NASA doctors were concerned about the mental health of astronauts because they started getting tinnitus, which distracted them from their duties. So NASA's medical team developed, tested, and applied numerous treatments aimed right at the brain, because in the case of tinnitus, the following happens. Parts of the brain responsible for processing sound go into overdrive. This hyperactivity is caused by the stress and the pressure that the brain feels, and that's how the phantom sounds are born. So tinnitus is actually phantom sounds of the brain. And how did you discover this hyperactivity, you might be wondering? You see, a lot of brain scans and tests were conducted on astronauts who developed tinnitus, even those already retired from service. They took a close look at the brains of 14 astronauts, ages ranging from 35 to 85, all at different stages of tinnitus. They examined every nook and cranny, and guess what they found? Every single one had this buzzing of activity in their auditory cortex. That's the sound processing center in the brain, nestled in the temporal lobe. It was like their brains were on overdrive, trying to decode sounds. It became clear that action needed to be taken on the auditory cortex to calm the temporal lobe area. So what treatments or therapies do you undergo to calm their brain and stop the production of phantom sounds? I asked. The doctor explained that NASA's health team always kept astronauts sharp and their ears on point with a special drink they had daily during missions. This formula was developed to train the brain to relax based on a mechanism called neurofeedback training. Turns out most astronauts believe this drink is the reason why they never got tinnitus, hearing, or brain issues at all. But that was just a rumor, the doctor continued. Rumor or not, I immediately knew I needed the scoop. So I grabbed the doctor for a coffee chat. My heart was racing as I spilled my guts, laying out all my research. practically pleading for the formula. "Everything you're telling me makes perfect sense," the doctor replied, after patiently listening to me for 20 minutes. However, he could not just give me the formula. That was top secret information, and he was staring down the barrel of jail time, among other nightmares. "Why all the hoops?" I asked, "especially if the solution is that good." "It's because of pressures from Big Pharma. Think about how much money they'd lose if people could treat their illnesses so simply and effectively. Plus, many politicians own shares in Big Pharma companies, so legislation works in their favor, keeping true treatments suppressed. Not even the press is allowed to talk about such things. I'm sorry to say it, but that's the world we live in." I was angry to hear this. I knew Big Pharma wasn't exactly our friend, but keeping people sick just to line their pockets seemed unacceptable to me. So I told myself that if I managed to cure my tinnitus, I'd help everyone do the same, no matter the consequences. And so I became even more determined to continue my quest. "Can you at least give me the key ingredient of the formula? Or a hint or anything?" I begged, pushing my luck. I was past caring about pride. I had been through too much. Maybe my desperation got through to him, because the doctor finally caved, agreeing to give me some crucial pointers. He started to lay it all out. "At NASA, we've accidentally discovered that lidocaine, frequently used for local pain relief during medical procedures, also decreased the sensation of tinnitus and cochlear hearing loss. But the side effects came back as the medication was discontinued, which gave us a starting clue that we needed to calm the auditory cortex, and that's how we stumbled upon neurofeedback training, the only method that worked long-term. After 2 weeks of use, all 14 astronauts I talked about in the lecture were rid of tinnitus and regained 62% of their hearing. It made sense, because it acted on the part of the brain responsible for the auditory system and sound perception. But what does this method entail? I asked. The method involves delivering specific substances to neurological sites, the smallest unit of a gene, capable of reducing hyperactivity in the auditory cortex by influencing how the brain interprets and processes sounds, thereby eliminating tinnitus. It also brings mental clarity, calmness, and improved hearing. But here's the catch. Only a single neuroinhibitor can cross the blood-brain barrier to calm the auditory cortex, and this neuroinhibitor must be in a pure state and supported by a delivery vehicle containing vitamins, minerals, and strong antioxidants. Now, it's important to know that the brain barrier makes it difficult for any drugs to enter the brain. Studies show that 94% of drugs, supplements, or treatments fail to cross this barrier. That's why most treatments fail. That was shocking for me. But even more shocking was when the doctor told me which neuroinhibitor was the key ingredient of the formula. I remember I was wondering, could it really be true? Anyway, I tried to assimilate as much information as possible from the doctor, and as soon as I got home, I started checking the science. Was there any proof that this neuroinhibitor worked? And after seeing dozens of studies, I had no doubt. In a 2015 research article published in the Journal of Neuroscience, it was discovered that tinnitus was associated with a reduction in auditory cortex GABA concentration. GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in our central nervous system. Its key role is to calm the hyperexcitation of the neurons in the temporal lobe. It's also involved in neurogenesis, the process of generating new neurons in the adult brain, like in the hippocampus, associated with memory, learning, and emotion. Another study from 2017 published in Hearing Research found that the auditory thalamus plays a role in tinnitus, with benefits for military personnel exposed to high-noise environments, and that central inhibitory functions can be restored through increased GABA activity. And it's not just NASA saying this, but also a study funded by the American Tinnitus Association, led by two important doctors, which investigated the role of GABA in tinnitus. They used MRI and PET scans and confirmed that people with sufficient GABA do not have tinnitus. Another study, this time in the UK, used magnetic resonance spectroscopy, MRI, to analyze neurotransmitter concentrations in the auditory cortex of individuals with tinnitus compared to a healthy control group. The conclusion was clear. Those with tinnitus had a GABA deficiency. But as the doctor told me, the effects depend on which form of GABA you take. That was the last puzzle I had to solve, because it was clear that taking GABA supplements from the supermarket wasn't curing people. At that point, I turned into a madman. I started researching the most potent sources for this wonder ingredient, calling hundreds of local growers and suppliers, asking questions about processing temperatures and how their plants are grown and harvested. After 3 months with some inside tips from the doctor, I finally had the recipe recipe. All I needed was to create the formula and get the right dosage for every ingredient to ensure maximum potency. For this, I turned to my ex-boss, Aiden, and his laboratory. He was quite skeptical in the beginning, but seeing my enthusiasm, he agreed to help. He also had a wonderful team, full of young and passionate researchers, ready to test and create a world-class formula. These guys were pure geniuses and were immediately fascinated by my project. Also, many of them had friends or family members with tinnitus whom they wanted to help. All in all, seeing all of them working for something that could potentially save the lives of thousands of people was one of the best feelings in the world. After months of non-stop experimenting to mix the perfect recipe, they finally nailed it. A potent liquid solution that's been a game changer in calming those overexcited neural receptors in the brain's temporal lobe, backed by loads of clinical trials. Now, I want you to pay attention because what I'm about to tell you comes directly from NASA's protocol. It's top secret information that no one else has access to. So here's a quick explanation of everything that went into the formula. But keep in mind that it is only 100% effective when all of the ingredients are pure and combined in these exact same ratios to achieve the best possible results against hearing loss, tinnitus, and brain disorders. Without adequate preparation, the whole ritual is pretty much worthless. In fact, that's why a lot of supplements don't have any effect. And this is something that no one will tell you. Because Big Pharma's interest is to keep us on the hamster wheel, not solve your problems. In the case of tinnitus, your brain's neurons tend to not relax as they used to, which leads to pressure inside your skull, less sleep, and headaches. This causes scrambled signals or phantom sounds, leading to hearing loss, brain fog, headaches, memory loss, and ringing in the ears. As I told you, there is one key ingredient that can bring calm and relaxation to the brain while removing tinnitus and regaining good hearing in record time. And this ingredient is GABA. Now, if you're wondering how GABA can do that, just like I did when the doctor from NASA's medical team told me about it, remember there's a catch. The source and the combination matter, because otherwise, it can't get past the blood-brain barrier, so the active substance will never make it to your brain. And it makes perfect sense. The first thing you find when you Google GABA's properties is that GABA is the most important inhibitory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. By inhibiting neuroactivity, it helps regulate neural excitability in the brain and plays a crucial role in maintaining the balance between excitation and inhibition, exactly what we need to eliminate tinnitus. Now, you might say that GABA is also found in broccoli, brown rice, or yogurt, but as mentioned earlier, the small quantities in these foods and their uncertain source make it difficult for GABA to cross the brain barrier and thus reach the brain. So, in the formula we created, we chose the purest form of brown rice and fermented it to increase GABA levels, given that the bacteria involved in fermentation produce this neurotransmitter. Thus, germinating brown rice gave us a large quantity of GABA of maximum purity. And we were not done, because the final stage was to reduce the size of the molecule into smaller ones with ultrasounds, using a process called sonocrystallization. This protects the active ingredients, increases bioavailability, and improves absorption. Now, to make the formula even stronger and to increase the quantity of natural GABA needed to calm the nervous system, as NASA's doctors recommended, we also added sodium and potassium. These are essential for transmitting nerve impulses. Sodium allows positive ions to enter nerve cells, triggering action potential, while potassium allows the nerve cell to return to its resting state. This electrical activity is fundamental for processing memory and thought, and also for effectively eliminating tinnitus. Then we added magnesium, which is important for nerve health and is essential for those who have developed tinnitus from exposure to loud noises, and wrapped it in ketones, the brain's preferred fuel, to have it delivered straight to the brain. The next ingredient for regulating brain activity is vinpocetine, which has neuroprotective properties and helps protect nerve cells from damage, ensuring we have a healthy brain that accurately perceives the information from the senses. Another star ingredient of this formula is lion's mane, a plant that stimulates neural growth factors for improved brain activity. Due to its effects on growth and repair of nerve cells, lion's mane is sometimes classified as a nootropic, a compound that enhances cognitive functions such as memory and concentration. Besides eliminating tinnitus, our formula's second objective is to improve cognition and memory. That's why we added alpha-GPC, essential for improving neurological health and cognitive function. and a generous amount of selenium, which helps prevent or slow down cognitive degeneration, including age-related conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia. To improve hearing and eliminate hearing-related issues, we completed the formula with ginkgo biloba, which helps improve blood circulation to the ear and auditory function. Coenzyme Q10 is a natural antioxidant present in almost every cell of the human body and plays an essential role in energy production and protecting cells against oxidative stress. Thus, it's proven that CoQ10 improves hearing, as does glutathione, which protects auditory cells from damage caused by oxidative stress. Now, even if the key ingredient is GABA, as you can observe, the formula is a very complex one, with many more ingredients than those mentioned. It has rare plants that are hard to get and that some doctors have never even heard of. Honestly, the process was brutally hard, but in the end it was all worth it. I was holding in my hands the formula that would fix my hearing and give me back my life. I was so eager to try it out because I'd never share anything unless I was totally sure it worked. So I tested it on myself first, and I wish every doctor would do the same with their recommendations. Now, I want you to know that we kept the mixture in liquid form for 3 reasons. First, to make it easier for your body to absorb the ingredients, feeding the brain and the entire auditory system with the substances they need in record time. Second, I knew from personal experience that after swallowing a fistful of pills for what seemed like an eternity, the last thing I'd want was to swallow another pill. And third, because we wanted to keep the formula intact to ensure that it would have the same effect that NASA's team had in their tinnitus battle. So on my first day of treatment, all I had to do was shake the bottle well in order for the ingredients to combine into a super potent mix and take 2 full droppers every morning. I could pour it directly into my mouth or put it in my morning tea, coffee, juice, or any beverage I wanted to. I chose to put it in juice as I have to admit. The taste was okay, but maybe not the best. But I knew all too well that it was because of the purity and combination of strong ingredients. The NASA doctor said, "Good medicine tastes bitter," and I couldn't agree more in our case, considering what followed next. Now, after the first few days, I didn't really feel much, and I was a bit discouraged, not going to lie. But soon enough, when I woke up one morning, I could feel something had clearly changed. I could feel the anxiety melt away, replaced by a calm serenity that gave me hope. By day 4, the ringing in my ears went from being very painful to almost bearable. Now, NASA's doctor claims that the formula works in 4 stages. Stage 1, this is where your ears start to clear up. The brain finally relaxes and the phantom sounds start to diminish until they disappear completely. Stage 2, your hearing improves. With tinnitus out of the way, your brain now works to repair its damaged auditory cortex, leaving you with high definition hearing. Some people even report hearing better than when they were young. Stage 3, all of the other health issues caused by your hearing problems vanish. If your memory was foggy, it will now come back sharper than ever. If you felt tired or depressed, your energy levels and mood will pick back up. Stage 4, you can actually feel your brain becoming stronger. Finally, at this stage, you can actually feel your brain becoming stronger, and auditory issues are a thing of the past. I was amazed at just how quickly the formula was working. By the 2nd week, I had gotten rid of the constant ringing in my ears. By the 3rd week, I could hear perfectly, and what's more, all this led to a massive improvement in my mood. My depression was gone, and I slept like a baby every night. Still, I kept taking 2 full droppers every morning because I wanted to see just how far they could take me. To my astonishment, by the end of the treatment, I actually felt mentally stronger. I could remember things more easily. I was more productive and no longer had issues with my energy levels or focus. My headaches were gone completely as well. After I saw these amazing results, I knew it was the moment to share this incredibly effective formula with others. I talked to Aiden, and he came up with the idea of doing a small study before we made it available to the public. So among the relatives and friends of those who worked in the lab and had tinnitus, we brought in 47 people and managed to convince them to take part in our study. The goal? Take 2 droppers every morning and document the results on a report form. I personally delivered the solution to their houses. That's how excited I was. Of course, this meant that I was also extremely anxious to hear from them and was prepared to hear any kind of feedback. But what happened next took me completely by surprise. After just a couple of days, my phone was ringing non-stop with people saying that their tinnitus was finally fading. For some, after years or even decades of torture torture. The ones who suffered from hearing loss were starting to hear the voices of their loved ones again, their favorite music, or birds chirping. It was gratifying to see that my experience wasn't a singular one, and I encouraged all participants to keep taking the drops for a minimum of 2 months. After that, Aiden and I collected the results and couldn't believe our eyes. Out of the 47 participants, each and every one of them had regained clarity in their hearing and gotten rid of tinnitus for good. Most people also noticed improvements in their minds, like being able to hear better, remember things better, and sleep better. This was a success beyond our wildest dreams. That's when my mission began. I was going to get this formula into the hands of every person suffering from tinnitus and hearing loss around the world, at a price that would be affordable to them, regardless of Big Pharma's interest. We named it CEREBROZEN for a reason. It's the only thing out there that calms your brain's hyperactive sound center and gives your mind the peace it's been craving, eliminating tinnitus and hearing loss in just weeks. Now, even if the medical industry told us to wait another year before making this product known, during which time Big Pharma would have time to throw other obstacles our way, we decided we couldn't wait another second and must bring to the world the only real tinnitus treatment confirmed by science and by more than 62,000 test subjects. A Big Pharma representative even offered us a huge amount of money, just so we wouldn't show anyone this formula. But of course, we refused immediately, which made them very angry. Now you're probably asking, how can you get your hands on CEREBROZEN as quickly as possible? Well, the fact is that just getting this made was incredibly hard. Finding the right ingredients for the mix is a real challenge. We were lucky enough to be able to make a deal with a small farm in the Netherlands to get our ingredients, which we then bottle in the US according to strict FDA rules. It takes about 6 months to produce a batch in these conditions, but we're proud of our standards and wouldn't sacrifice safety for profit any day of the week. What's more, the people who have tried our product so far already want more of it. Some don't even have hearing issues, but just use it to boost their cognitive abilities and stave off aging. No wonder our stock gets depleted so fast. And Big Pharma has already started fighting back. They've threatened to sue us if we don't stop selling our product right away, because its success could hurt their business. We've been able to hold them off so far, but there's no guarantee they won't try more aggressive tactics going forward. And since you stuck with me this long, I'm going to offer you the rare opportunity to buy CEREBROZEN right now while stocks still last. But before I do that, I want to tell you exactly how you should take it to achieve maximum results. This is important. You really don't want to get it wrong. First, start by taking 2 droppers every morning for at least 30 days. A bottle of CEREBROZEN contains exactly 60 droppers, so this should get you through the first month. After a week, you'll start noticing results. By the end of the first month, the droppers will have had enough time to really kick in, and your hearing will start to improve. But it's essential to have patience. This is a natural treatment that works with your body instead of against it, like pharmaceutical pills. After that, we recommend taking CEREBROZEN for another 2 months. This is the equivalent of 3 bottles of CEREBROZEN. 3 months is enough for the brain to recover after a long period of stress and cell regeneration to take place at a deeper level. So all the improvements in hearing you've gained will now be permanent. But the absolute best part came from people who have taken CEREBROZEN for a full 6-month course. Not only did it help them with tinnitus and other hearing problems, but it also made their minds and senses sharper and gave them more mental energy throughout the day. It's impossible to estimate how much stress your brain is under right now. It all depends on your medical history, diet, and lifestyle choices. So to be on the safe side, we recommend taking CEREBROZEN for 6 months. This should be enough to readjust your brain so that your hearing gets better and your brain fog goes away for good. Everyone who has undergone treatment with CEREBROZEN has reported incredible success. These are just a few of the messages people have been sending me since we made the formula available to the public. Benjamin M. from San Francisco, California.
My tinnitus issues were getting worse day by day, and I was getting terrified that soon I wouldn't hear anything else but those horrible sounds. I was incredibly relieved when I realized there was a solution that could do wonders for me. I mean, now I can hear the birds chirping.
Roberta Kenzie from El Paso, Texas.
You have all my respect and appreciation, Daniel. I don't hear any metallic sounds anymore, and I can't remember the last time I had such good sleep as now. Thank you.
I love hearing stories like these. It shows that our product works for all kinds of people, regardless of age or the severity of their conditions. All of this with just 2 small droppers per day. That's why I confidently state that this is by far the best natural treatment for tinnitus and hearing loss available. Nothing else comes close. Yes, there's always the medical alternative. You could see a doctor and undergo painful surgery and spend a lot of money in an effort to lessen your symptoms. But why not try something else first? Something that might greatly improve your condition without torturing you or emptying out your bank account. As for the alternative healing methods, such as meditation, ear oils, and teas, they're just not strong enough to treat serious conditions such as tinnitus and hearing loss. Spending time and money on these alternatives is a colossal waste. With CEREBROZEN, you'll be able to see results within 3 weeks at most, and you don't have to worry about any pesky side effects or long-term issues. Now you get why Aiden initially pushed me to sell my formula for $580 a bottle. CEREBROZEN is the only supplement available on the market that actually addresses the root cause of tinnitus and not just the symptoms. Just think about what people pay when they go to the doctor to purchase the latest treatments and hearing aids. I told him I understood where he was coming from. Even at a cost of $580 per bottle, CEREBROZEN would be an excellent value. But I wasn't in this for the money. If I were, I would have sold the formula to the representative of the big pharma corporation who came to us, and I would have been set for life. But that's not me. I know the suffering that comes from tinnitus and hearing loss, so my main goal is to help other people get better. That's all I've ever wanted from the beginning. I wish I had access to something like this before I got depressed and traumatized my wife, but I can't dwell on the past. All I can do now is put CEREBROZEN into as many hands as possible while supplies last. Remember, before you opt for much more expensive and potentially harmful medical treatments, you have the option to be proactive and take action right now. If that means dropping the price to the point where I'm barely breaking even, so be it. That's why I won't be charging you anywhere near $580 for this incredible creation. Instead, because you've watched this presentation to the end, I will make you a once-in-a-lifetime offer. After much deliberation and negotiation, Aiden agreed to allow me to sell 1 bottle of CEREBROZEN for just $69 for a limited time. This makes it easy for people who have been dealing with tinnitus and other hearing problems to get the help they need without having to spend a lot of money. What's more, if you decide to go for the full 6-month treatment, I'm prepared to give you a 30% discount on each bottle. That comes down to just $49 per bottle, for a total of $294. This offer is available today only, while supplies last. Reserve your treatment in advance, and you won't have to worry about tinnitus and hearing loss ever again. But be warned, once we run out of supplies, we may not be able to offer a new batch for another 5 or 6 months. That's why taking advantage of the full 6-bottle offer is your best bet. This way, you'll secure all the bottles you need for the full course of treatment. You won't get this much bang for your buck anywhere else. One tiny investment now can reap benefits years down the line, once your hearing reverts back to normal and tinnitus is a thing of the past. Sure, 1 bottle of CEREBROZEN is enough to make all that ringing in your ears go away. 3 bottles will go a long way toward undoing any mental damage caused by your hearing problems. But 6 bottles could actually protect your brain long term, boosting it in the face of diseases like memory loss, amnesia, and dementia. Picture yourself having the sharpest mind possible, regardless of age. So take a good look at the offer we've prepared below this video and choose the one that makes the most sense for you. After you click the order button, you'll be taken directly to our checkout page, where you'll enter your payment details and finalize your order. After that, your shipment of CEREBROZEN will be delivered right to your doorstep in 7 days or less. This is your last chance of securing a full treatment of CEREBROZEN before supplies run out. And don't forget, no matter what happens, you're protected by our 60-day, 100% healthy or money-back guarantee. This way, you'll get to experience for yourself just how mind-blowing CEREBROZEN can be. Within a few weeks, you'll start to regain control over your body and mind. Anxiety will fade away as your tinnitus recedes. and you can start living life to the fullest again. This has already been experienced by more than 62,000 satisfied beta testers. And if you decide to change your mind or the formula isn't working as fast as you expected, just send me an email and I'll buy it back from you. No questions asked. So click one of the buttons below and kickstart your healing process today. It'll be the best decision you ever make. Just don't wait too long before you act. Your problems could be getting worse by the day, and there's always the risk of our supply getting bought out by other customers in the meantime. After all, we're offering this incredible product for just $69, even cheaper if you go for the bundle packages. And that's exactly what people are doing, emptying our stock in record time. Because of that, we might be forced to raise the price to $179 per bottle, maybe even higher in the future as the supplies we need get more expensive. Believe it or not, some people are still wary of CEREBROZEN, precisely because it's too cheap. They think it couldn't possibly do the things it does to alleviate hearing problems and tinnitus at a fraction of the price of prescription medicine. And they'd be right. If we charged the same prices as Big Pharma, our product would still sell, and we'd get rich. But that's not why I got into this. My mission is, and will always be, to help as many people as possible, and greedy corporate interests can take a hike as far as I'm concerned. So don't hesitate to take me up on this offer while it still stands. Click the order button below, and I'll make sure you get your shipment of CEREBROZEN in a matter of days. At this point, it's all in your hands. You can either leave this presentation, not believe a word I say, or continue living your life as before. You might hope that your condition will improve on its own. Unfortunately, we all know how unlikely that is. But know this, before you opt for much more expensive and potentially damaging medical treatments, you have a choice to be proactive and do something about this now. So why not take matters into your own hands? Proven natural treatments like CEREBROZEN don't come along every day. A lot of work and research went into creating this solution, and you are fortunate to be among the first to find out about it. So go ahead and place your risk-free order today. You'll thank yourself later. Just click below and enter your payment details. We'll take care of the rest. You will have the bottles delivered to your doorstep in a matter of days. I can't wait to hear your success story. Still here? Great! I want to take a second to answer the most common questions I get about CEREBROZEN. I just want to make sure you feel 100% comfortable with your decision to order today. 1. How and why does CEREBROZEN work? After years of study and research by NASA, it has been shown that tinnitus comes from too much activity in a part of the brain that deals with hearing, named the auditory cortex. And the only method that successfully calmed the auditory cortex was the neurofeedback training used by NASA's astronauts. This method involved delivering specific substances to neurological sites, the smallest unit of a gene, capable of reducing hyperactivity in the auditory cortex by influencing how the brain interprets and processes sounds, thereby eliminating tinnitus. It also brings mental clarity, calmness, and improved hearing. CEREBROZEN, the only brain treatment for tinnitus that can cross the brain's protective barrier and perform the medical process of neurofeedback training, has been proven by the experience of more than 62,000 satisfied customers, like Sam JT from Seattle, Washington, who said,
I am so grateful this product exists. My life is so much better. I can finally feel the silence again.
Or
Daniel, your formula is wonderful and it helped me tremendously. Thank you.
Of course, the only definitive way to know for sure how well it can work for you is to try it today using the special no-risk offer that you can find only on this page. Are there any side effects? CEREBROZEN has been designed for all ages and medical conditions. All of the ingredients inside CEREBROZEN have been proven to be safe in clinical trials and are constantly tested for purity and to ensure against toxins and contaminants. Moreover, CEREBROZEN is manufactured in an FDA-approved facility under sterile, strict, and precise standards. With more than 62,000 customers, we haven't seen any notable side effects, so we're confident in saying that CEREBROZEN is one of the purest hearing formulas you'll find on the market. As always, if you currently have a medical condition or you're taking other prescription medication, we advise you to show a bottle of CEREBROZEN to your doctor before you take it, just to put your mind at ease. When and how should I take CEREBROZEN? We recommend you take 2 full droppers per day in the morning. You can pour it directly into your mouth or put it into your tea, coffee, juice, or any other beverage you enjoy. Just make sure to shake the bottle well first, so the ingredients can combine into an extra potent mix. What if it doesn't work for me? Can you tell me about the guarantee again? The more results we see, the stronger we believe CEREBROZEN has the power to completely transform the health of your hearing and brain. It's true though. Nothing works for 100% of the people who try it, as each body is unique. That's why every bottle of CEREBROZEN comes with an ironclad 60-day money-back guarantee. If for any reason you aren't fully satisfied with the results, you can just return what you haven't used for a full, no questions asked, refund. How can I get started? It's very easy. Just click the button below now to go to our secure order checkout page, enter in your information, and we'll immediately get to work shipping CEREBROZEN right to your doorstep. So all you have to do today is click below, fill in your payment details on our secure order form, and submit your order. I can't wait to hear your success story. Remember, CEREBROZEN is the #1 formula designed to cross the blood-brain barrier and calm the auditory cortex, targeting issues like phantom sounds and tinnitus at their core. It will dramatically improve your hearing, brain function, and quality of life. And just in case you're not ecstatic with your results, you can email us for a prompt and courteous refund, so you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Get started today and secure your supply. God bless. Daniel.